everything that you do generates data and is valuable to somebody. We hear a lot about UBI, Universal Basic Income. The part I disagree with is some sort of top-down government, tax the rich, put it into the other people. That type of centralized control isn't ideal. If we can unlock data from all different aspects, monetize it, and then pass back the revenue from that, that's UBI from bottom up. And I think that's much more sustainable. It gives people motivation, and it gives them some earnings so that they can sustain themselves. And seeing that there was potentially less and less for humans to do. And when I looked at blockchain, through my friend Trent McConaughey, my co-founder, I realized that blockchain isn't just transfer of value and transfer of currency, it's also potentially transfer of data, intellectual property, music, books, blogs, ideas, designs, all these things. And if what we can do is create some sort of rails on blockchain for this type of thing, we could give pretty much every human on Earth with a connection to the internet, with a computer, the ability to monetize their ideas and have a chance against the AI, the robotics and the automation that's coming.
That's these days.
So the way I think about it is Bitcoin and the network is two things. It's a database, number one, of entries of just who owns what, and then it is an orchestration tool for then transferring that from one person to another or one address to another. That's all it is. Whether it's going to be digital currency, whether it's going to be rights of ownership to data, whether it's access to a social graph or identity. That's all it is. It's a database.
To be honest with you, Gigi, like for me, data monetization is the most meaningful next step in crypto, right? Because from exclusion to inclusion was the first step, right? But you still need money to earn money. While with wealth or data monetization,
you already have an asset.
Yeah,
that's the point.
Exactly. You don't need the money,
right? You have an asset that is making is already. Why, if all this data are making these guys the richest man in the world, and actually like the good Mark, ciao Mark Zuckerberg and so on. So I think it's time to
redistribute, right?
Yeah, redistribute this value because it's our value. Probably now is not so much value for each person. But it's something, and because 100 euro, 200 euro a month, also 50 euro a month, now for us probably is not. But in our opinion, this is not enough. Because you cannot cut the data of the equation, cut the data of the market, because my Instagram feed, my YouTube feed is different from yours.
Yeah.
And we all have different internet experience thanks to our data. So in our opinion, the solution is not to cut the data of the equation, but to regulate the data and, giving back the value of this data. And we're doing that with Udi. So you can go to Udi and register, take your data wallet, and collect back the data from the data sources. Because the idea is this. Let's imagine Disney Plus want to buy data from Netflix. Netflix will never sell his data, all his inside to Disney Plus. But all those data are not owned by Netflix. Netflix is called the data provider. So they are custodian, they do custodian for the data, they are not the owner. The data are owned by us. So I can take back my data from Netflix and sell to Disney Plus.
Blockchains, a lot of people talk about transaction speed, TPS, the throughput, gas fees and all that, but are there any specific technological edges that you find Near has?
Technology edges, the proof will be in the pudding when the network, achieves escape velocity and a lot of people using the network, because we've built something called Simple Nightshade, which is our sharding mechanism. When I talk about sharding, it means that the blockchain can separate itself into different compartments to increase throughput and scalability. So right now, the Near blockchain is operating on 4 separate shards. And also what it allows us to do, and enterprises to do, is build a private shard. So if they have an application that they don't want to be part of a public blockchain or have any other traffic or any other throughput affect their particular application, they can go out and deploy on a private blockchain, a private shard of the Near protocol language. And so when the Near protocol gets upgraded, even though it's private, you can still upgrade that chain when the protocol upgrades. So from a technology point, thinking ahead, and my background dealing with enterprises and businesses, I can see why that would be really, really cool for different enterprises and use cases, because you saw Aave did it with their pool. They've got a permissioned DeFi fund where you have to go through KYC and all that kind of stuff because it's kind of like a private infrastructure. Yeah, we can do that too. You can build that private infrastructure. So, you think a big banking app or a big privacy app or something like that doesn't want any interruption from any other network on the blockchain, then that's possible with NEAR. Downloaded a NEAR wallet. It's something I recommend you go and try and do because the account-based system is yourname.near. So my Twitter username is Nakamiaudo. So my NEAR account is nakamiaudo.near. So when I'm interacting with people talking about, here's this NFT, oh, you want to send me an NFT? I'll send you one. I can say mine, it's nakamiaudo.near. It's not a complicated private key. There you go, XYZ0x0, like it's not possible. Grandma.near. AuntieMavis.near, I want to send you this cool NFT, all that kind of stuff. And when you're talking about what's going on in the GameFi ecosystem and the NFT ecosystem, it will be kids in the playground, guys who are playing soccer, they'll be showing their NFT collections and swapping them and, doing that. And you can do that with a quick flip in the wallet. And it's about having that access straight away and being able to do of what kind of applications come and build on NEAR. If you care about simple, scalable, secure blockchains as a host for your application, come and build with us. From my position in business development and partnerships, I'm speaking to a lot more kind of creative-led platforms. So music kind of NFTs, NFT marketplace, like NFT kind of insurance platforms, as well as marketing, advertising, Web2 businesses that are coming to look and deploy in the blockchain space because, we've got the cookie apocalypse, the post-cookie apocalypse coming out where you can't track user data anymore, and blockchain will be a very, very valuable tool to businesses and enterprise to understand how they activate users from campaigns like airdrops and all those kind of things. So yeah, very interesting space.
The name of Cross the Ages is a bridge between the physical and the digital. Everything we see now today, is people created something and put it on the Metaverse. They're doing that again and again. Imagine that we're gonna do the opposites. We're gonna create content on the Metaverse, and we gotta get it back on the real world to give the choice and the way for the people loving the collectible card to having NFT. However, they can get NFC, physical card with a chipset inside with all the information on the blockchain. And this is totally unbelievable because we were thinking about that 20 months ago to create choice for the user. This is our objective. We're not a play to earn, we are a play and earn. And
yes.
This is all the difference.
Because you want people to intrinsically, come and want to play instead of thinking of rewards all the time,
absolutely,
right? Yeah,
absolutely. And this is exactly what you have to do. You have to give the feeling to the people that they are involved in the project. They have to feel that they are inside the project. And yeah, I think it's the best way, to create the community.
It's a non-custodial staking provider with a different approach in terms of UI, UX, and everything.
Gamified, right? Kind of.
Yeah, it's called gamified, given how the design is. It has a lot of references to Middle Ages and Renaissance. But beyond that, we are trying to create some library for developers where on all the networks that we validate, networks that we truly believe in, we create resources for developers, workshops, and gamified learn path so that they could master complex notions of this protocol.
This has some interesting tooling or something that I want to further investigate, or even maybe a future sub-asset class or asset class.
Definitely. Yeah. Let's not fade Ethereum to start with, which has a very exciting roadmap, but also the community of developers on Ethereum is just outstanding, and how they're contributing to the network. It's just beautiful.
It's beautiful.
But beyond that, I'm in love with Cosmos. So Tendermint, informal, interchain, they have shipped with everything that's coming for them, interchain accounts, shared security with the Cosmos Hub, IBC. This is just an elegant solution for cross-chain messaging communications in a very secure manner. So far, their system hasn't been broken. All this Cosmos SDK chain that can exchange value but still remain sovereign is something I'm very interested about. So I like all these kind of ecosystems that are described as layer zero.
Layer zero,
because people can build their blockchain with the tooling that they give. So Polkadot has Substrate. I'm myself not a big fan of Polkadot, but I love Moonbeam because I think that most people are going to use Moonbeam or Astar to deploy contracts on Polkadot. Speaking of layer zeros, I like Avalanche with their subnet.
Yeah,
and I like the fact that they have a new approach to consensus. So they have Snowman, which allows them to have extremely low finality.
Sub-second, right?
Yeah, sub-second, it could be 2 seconds, still very fast.
Yeah, still very fast.
And I like the fact that they designed this, the guys who designed this network, they know probabilities. It's not deterministic, it's just sampling a set of validators until you're sure at 99.9999% that something is done with is correct. I really like the way they've designed it, the whole like subnet approach on which you can run the VM that you like, the runtime that you like, add some modules for privacy. I'm still very interested by Solana, and we plan to validate on Solana. We've been working closely with them. Then there is the modular future narrative. One project that I'm extremely excited about is Celestia. So Celestia is currently in DevNet phase. It's a plug and play data availability and consensus layer. So let's say you're building your own blockchain or your own rollup, but you always have that hassle where you need to have your own set of validators to secure it. So you need to have people create incentives for them through inflation so that they want to run machines on AWS or Google Cloud or bare metal to validate your network, distribute them. People are going to trash the distribution of your token or the amount of validators, criticize it. It's always a big hassle. What if you can just like plug yourself to Celestia and inherit from the security of nodes, basically? Any kind of system can plug to Celestia. Roll-ups. Sure. So what I was like trying to make the media sustainable economically by getting grants and working in foundations, I kind of understood that there was a big demand for highly available infrastructure that could potentially onboard hundreds of participants into securing the network. We're a media, so if we run a node, we can educate potentially, let's say, hundreds of thousands of people to what it is to stake and set up your own nodes. So that's a high added value for projects and eventually like make them more secure. And then on top of that, there was the whole tech writing part that I described. Developers, everyone is playing tug of war to onboard developers on their ecosystem. As a media, it's nice because you can organize hackathons, you can communicate, you're that bridge with the community. You can make technical resources available to a broad audience. But we also train the team that is kind of able, has some kind of craftsmanship know-how to create tech writing content that is actually useful for developers, that is relevant for them.
When we started in 2015, we started to make the world more physically active. Launch of Sweat is going to turbocharge this vision and 10x it, maybe 100x it. What I would like to see is humanity changing our attitude towards physical activity. We know that it is valuable intuitively. We are basically putting an asset out there that is going to be the measure how much value humanity attributes to physical activity. What would make me really happy is a headline saying human physical activity pumps 20x last week, and everyone going, whoa! Physical activity has value? Oh my God, this changes people's perception. That's going to make people more physically active. They're going to start thinking more about their bodies, their health. And I think we're going to generate an immense amount of value for the whole world.